Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil, a phrase that Muslims oftentimes say but don't understand the magnitude of it. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sufficient for me, and He is the best disposer of my affairs. This is a phrase that Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam uttered when they threw him into a fire. After Ibrahim alayhi salam broke all of their idols and then left a big one, and then they confronted Ibrahim about it, and they decided that they were going to throw him into a fire. The fire was so huge, they had to use a catapult to toss Ibrahim into the fire. And as he's reaching the fire, he utters these words, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sufficient for me, and He is the best disposer of my affairs. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how did He dispose of Prophet Ibrahim's affairs in that moment? He said to the fire, قُلْنَا يَا نَارُ كُونِي بَرْدًا وَسَلَامًا عَلَى إِبْرَاهِيمَ. O fire, be cool and a place of peace for Ibrahim. That's when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sufficient for you. That's what will happen when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is sufficient for you. He'll settle all of your affairs. When you believe Allah is enough for me, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will settle all of your affairs. The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam also uttered this phrase when he was returning back from the battle of Uhud. And the leaders of Quraysh, along with the hypocrites of Medina, along with the tribes of the Jews in Medina, they all gathered together to attack the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, utilizing all of their resources to attack the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when it was brought to the Prophet's attention, the first words he uttered, he said, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Don't try to instill fear in me. I don't care how many people gather together to harm me. Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. Allah is sufficient for me, and He is the best one to dispose of my affairs. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told Abdullah bin Abbas, Ya ghulam inni u'alimuka kalimat. Oh young man, I'm going to teach you some words of advice. And part of that advice, he said to him, wa'alam law anna al-ummah. Know that if a whole nation of people gathered together to harm you, law ijtama'u ala an yadurruka, they gathered together to bring you some harm. Ma yadurruka bi shay'in illa qad katabahu Allahu lak. They can only harm you with what Allah has already decreed for them to harm you with. The power is not them. The power is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We give human beings way too much credit. We give human beings way too much credit. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allowed that person to bring you some harm, they are not the power. Allah is. Allah gave them the permission to do so. Don't say this person did this to me, this person did that to me, this person brought me this harm, or this person harmed me in this way. Allah gave them permission to do so for reasons that are beyond what you can understand. Sometimes for your own good. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, وَجَعَلْنَا بَعْضُكُمْ لِبَعْضٍ فِتْنَةً أَتَصْبِرُونَ. And we have made some of you a fitna, a test for others. Won't you be patient? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in another ayah in the Quran, عَسَىٰ أَن تَكْرَهُ شَيْئًا وَيَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ فِيهِ خَيْرًا كَثِيرًا. Perhaps you may hate a thing, you dislike a thing, you detest a thing, but in it is an abundance of good for you. In it is an abundance of good for you. And the scholars, they say, Hasbunallah wa ni'mal wakil. This phrase, Allah is sufficient for me, and He is the best disposer of my affairs. This phrase gathers or combines two things. Number one, husnul dhan billah, good thoughts about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, was sidq at-tawakkul alayhi, and true trust in Him. This phrase combines two beliefs. Number one, good thoughts about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and number two, sidq at-tawakkul alayhi, and true trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وهي من أعظم الأمور التي يفرج الله سبحانه وتعالى بها القلوب ويكشف بها الغموم وينزل بها الرحمات. And this is from the greatest ways by which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remove your distress and your grief, and will send down upon you an abundance of rahmah. Even the Khalifa, the successor of the Prophet ﷺ, the son-in-law of the Prophet ﷺ, Uthman ibn Affan, when he was besieged at his own home, they surrounded his home to do him some harm. And Uthman is fasting, reading the Quran. And they broke into his home. They chopped off the hand of his wife who tried to grab the sword when he tried to strike Uthman. And even him in those very moments, he knew that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was enough for him. The individual surrounding his home, he knew that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in those very last moments of his life, he knew that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was enough for him, evidenced by the place in the Quran where his blood splattered on that part of the Quran. Amra bint Arta'a al-Adawiyya, she said, خرجت مع عائشة سنة قتل عثمان إلى مكة فمررنا بالمدينة ورأينا المصحف الذي قتل عثمان وهو في حجره فكانت أول قطرة قطرت من دمه على هذه الآية. Amra, she said that me and Aisha traveled to Mecca the same year that Uthman was killed. She said, and we passed by a place that had the mushaf that belonged to Uthman. And in that mushaf, his blood spilled on an ayat in the Quran. As he was reading the ayat and they struck him with the sword, some of his blood spilled on a particular ayat from the Quran. And that ayat is in Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah number 2, ayat 137, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, فَإِنْ آمَنُوا بِمِثْلِ مَا آمَنْتُمْ بِهِ فَقَدِ اهْتَدَوْا وَإِنْ تَوَلَّوْا فَإِنَّمَا هُمْ فِي شِقَاقٍ فَسَيَكْفِيكَهُمُ اللَّهُ وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that if they believe like you believe, then they will be rightly guided. فَإِنْ تَوَلَّوْا, and if they turn away, فَإِنَّمَا هُمْ فِي شِقَاقٍ, then they are only in blatant opposition. وَسَيَكْفِيكَهُمُ اللَّهُ, and Allah will suffice you from them. وَهُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ, and He is the all-hearer, the all-knower. And Amra, she said, فَمَا مَاتَ رَجُلٌ مِّنْهُمْ سَوِيًّا, no man who was involved with the murder of Uthman died in a good state. Every single individual that was involved with that died in a horrible manner, and they will have to deal with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala yawm al-qiyamah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it's no coincidence that his blood spilled on a very ayat where Allah says, وَسَيَكْفِيكَهُمُ اللَّهُ, Allah will suffice you from them. Because even sometimes we are not enough for our own selves. Sometimes we allow people to come into our lives and drain us of our energy. These are emotional vampires who stick a straw in our lives and suck all of the energy out of us. And we don't even have enough left for ourselves. And even in those moments, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is enough for you. Even when you are not enough for yourself. Even when you are not enough for yourself, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is enough for you. Many of us found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, albeit in some of the most unfavorable situations. Some of us found God in prison. Some of us found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala at times in our lives when we had hit rock bottom. Some of us found God in our lives when we lost a loved one, the demise of a loved one. Whether the latter or the former, some of us, we found God when we were at a crossroad in our lives, when just wanting to give up, but still wanting more out of our lives, but not knowing how to attain it or how to pursue it. But regardless of how you found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you found Him, you found everything. When you found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you found God, you found everything that you needed. However, on the flip side of that, when you lose Allah, you lose everything. Because some people, just as quick as they found Allah, they lost Him just as quick. As the Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith Qudsi, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Ya ibn Adam, khalaqtuka li nafsi fala tal'ab. O child of Adam, I created you for me, so do not play. Meaning your life is not a joke. This is not a joke. It's not play and amusement. فَلَا تَلْعَبْ. Don't play with your lives. Your life has a greater purpose. خَلَقْتُكَ لِنَفْسِي فَلَا تَلْعَبْ. I created you for me, so don't play with your life. وَتَكَلَّفْتُ بِرِزْقِكَ فَلَا تَتْعَبْ. And I have taken the responsibility of your provision, so don't busy yourself chasing the world when I have already decided what you're going to get. Some of us spend our entire lives chasing the bag, only to realize when we get to the bag and open it, nothing there. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, مَثَلُ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا أَعْمَالُهُمْ كَسَرَابٍ بِقِيعَةٍ يَحْسَبُهُ ظَمْآنُ مَاءً حتى إذا جاءه لم يجده شيئا ووجد الله عنده فوفاه حسابه والله سريع الحساب. Allah says the example of those who disbelieve and their dealings in this life, those who disbelieve in God and their movement about in the world, they're chasing the bag. It's like a man who finds himself in the desert and sees an oasis from a distance, until he gets up on it thinking that it's water and it's nothing there. The only thing that he finds is God. فَوَفَّاهُ حِسَابًا. And Allah will repay him for his deeds in this life. وَاللَّهُ سَرِيعُ الْحِسَابِ. And Allah is quick to take a person to account. This is how many of us spend our entire lives chasing, only to find nothing at the end of that. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was there from the very beginning, and He's there to the end. هُوَ الْأَوَّلُ وَالْآخِرُ وَالظَّاهِرُ وَالْبَاطِنُ. Allah is the first, nothing before Him, and He's the last, nothing after Him. When are we going to understand that? Constantly being deceived by this world. He said, O child of Adam, I created you for me. فَلَا تَلْعَبْ. So don't play with your life. وَتَكَلَّفْتُ بِرِزْقِكَ فَلَا تَتْعَبْ. And I have shouldered the responsibility of your provision, so don't busy yourself, don't preoccupy yourself, don't tire yourself out in pursuit of the world. يَا بَنَ آدَمْ اُطْلُبْنِي تَجِدْنِي. He said, O child of Adam, seek me and you shall find me. Seek me, seek God, and you will find Him. There are people out here, I'm lost, I don't really know. If you really wanted to find God, He's not hard to find. If you want to find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He's not hard to find. But you're not really looking. He said, Ya ibn Adam, utlubni tajidni. O child of Adam, seek me and you will find me. فَإِنْ وَجَدْتَنِي وَجَدْتَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ وَإِنْ فُتْتُكَ فَاتَكَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. When you find me, وَجَدْتَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ, you found everything. When you find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you found everything. وَإِنْ فُتْتُكَ فَاتَكَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. And when you lose me, you lose everything. Some people got it all. Big house, nice job, nice car, money in your bank, but you're spiritually bankrupt. Your soul is in turmoil, tormented, because although you have everything, you have nothing without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We boast and brag about our positions. I'm a PhD, I'm a CEO, and all of these titles that give you so much relevance and validation. Meanwhile, you don't have the main component that actually gives your life purpose, which is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't have the main element that actually gives your life real purpose. Who was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? He said, O child of Adam, In wajadtani wajadta kulla shay. When you find me, you found everything. When futtuka fataka kulla shay. And when you lose me, you lose everything. Why is it? Because when we find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our life now has purpose. When we find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our life now has direction. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, أَوَمَنْ كَانَ مَيْتًا فَأَحْيَيْنَاهُ وَجَعَلْنَا لَهُ نُورًا يَمْشِي بِهِ فِي النَّاسِ كَمَنْ مَثَلُهُ فِي الظُّلُمَاتِ لَيْسَ بِخَارِجٍ مِنْهَا. Can he who was dead, to whom we gave life and a light by which he can walk amongst men. Purpose. He's a meaningful specific, not a walking generality. Your life actually matters now. Your life has purpose. Can he who was dead, to whom we gave life and a light whereby he can walk amongst men with a purpose, be like he who was steeped in the depths of the darkness of his ignorance from which he could never come out? Are they the same? لا يستويان مثلا. They are not the same. The person who found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and walks upright with a purpose is not like a walking generality who doesn't know whether he's coming or going. They are not the same. And many of us as Muslims, we pride ourselves on being like people who have no sense of God consciousness. That's who you want to imitate. That's who you want to emulate. That's who you want to be like. Someone who has no purpose in life. Think about our youth who are so amazed by all of these posts on Instagram, people flashing their money and their jewelry and their ice, yet spiritually bankrupt. Their souls are tormented. That's all you have. Some people, all they have is money. That's all you have. You don't have anything else. And I feel sorry for you. But when we find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we found everything. When we find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we found out how to love. Because when you love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, through your love of Allah, we learn how to love His creation in moderation. We learn how to love in moderation because we put no one's love above the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we learn how to love properly. As the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man ahabba lillah, wa abghada lillah, wa a'ta lillah, wa amsaka lillah, faqad istakmala imanahu." Whoever loves for Allah and hates for Allah and gives for Allah and withholds for Allah, then he has completed his iman. You have perfected the elements of your faith. Because you have now struck a balance. That's what our religion is all about, balance. We love, but we love in moderation. We hate, but we hate with moderation. We give, but we give in moderation. We withhold, and we withhold in moderation because there's some people who don't deserve. Some people who don't deserve for you to love them. Some people who don't deserve for you to share the intimate secrets of your life with them. They don't deserve it. We put everybody, as Aisha radiallahu anha said, we put everybody in their proper place. We have been commanded to put everyone in their proper place. That's the balance of Islam. When we found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we found how to love. Because through our love of Him, we learned how to love His creation. When we found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we found how to trust. Because through our trust in Him, we learn how to put our trust in the hands of the people who deserve it. Some people say, I got trust issues. You know why you got trust issues? Because you trust the wrong people. You trust everybody and then have everybody violate you, and then you walk around talking about, I have trust issues. Well, you know why, genius? Because you trust the wrong people. When you have that relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it teaches you. You base your decisions off of the energy of the person in front of you, not blindly engaging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's creatures. When we found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we found how to give When we found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we found how to withhold. And we exercise this same fairness with His creation. And this is what it means to find Allah and to find everything. بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ونفعني وإياكم بما جاء فيه من الآيات والذكر الحكيم أقول ما تسمعون أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المؤمنين من كل ذنب فاستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله الذي أرسل رسوله بالهدى ودين الحق ليظهره على الدين كله وكفى بالله شهيدا وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له إقرارا به وتوحيدا وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله سراج منيرا. أما بعد. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, that if you find me, you found everything. But when you lose me, you lose everything. Some of the ways that we lose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because even when we lose Allah, we lose ourselves in the process. But one of the ways that we lose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forgetting about Him. As Allah says in the Quran, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ نَسُوا اللَّهَ فَأَنْسَاهُمْ أَنفُسَهُمْ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. O you who believe, do not be like those who forgot about Allah, and Allah caused them to forget about their own selves. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْفَاسِقُونَ. These individuals are the sinful and rebellious ones. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala calls you to forget about your own selves. And what does that mean? We forget about our agency. We forget about our purpose. And we resort back to the life of darkness that we came from. As Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu ta'ala, Abdullah ibn Aun, rahimahullah ta'ala, he said, ذِكْرُ النَّاسِ دَاءٌ وَذِكْرُ اللَّهِ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى دَوَاءٌ. فقال إمام الذهبي والله فالعجب منا ومن جهلنا كيف ندع الدواء ونقتحم الداء. Abdullah ibn Aun, he said, remembering people is a disease. ذِكْرُ النَّاسِ دَاءٌ. Remembering people is a disease. وَذِكْرُ اللَّهِ دَوَاءٌ. And remembering Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the cure. Imam al-Dhahabi commented on this phrase and he said, Wallahi, I swear to God, how amazing are we as human beings in our day and time that we leave alone the cure, which is the remembrance of Allah, and we rush head on to digest the disease, which is the remembrance of people, backbiting people, talking about people behind their back. Remembering people is a disease. It's a poison. Sometimes remembering people brings about some very uncomfortable feelings. When you think about what this person did to you in the 7th grade, you think about what this person did to you in high school, you think about what this person did to you in college, think about what this person did to you in your first marriage, think about what this person did to you in your first divorce, think about what this person did to you when you were here or there. Remembering these things, it brings up emotions that are uncomfortable. Have you ever remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and it made you uncomfortable? Have you ever remembered God and you didn't smile? Have you ever remembered Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and your heart did not find ease and tranquility in that moment? As Allah says in the Quran, أَلَا بِذِكْرِ اللَّهِ تَطْمَئِنُّ الْقُلُوبِ. Isn't it with the remembrance of Allah that the hearts find peace? Isn't it with the remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that the heart finds tranquility? Isn't it with the remembrance of Allah that the heart finds comfort? Can you say the same thing about remembering other human beings? Sometimes the mere thought of an individual puts you in a very negative place. The mere thought of the individual puts you in a very unhealthy place. Gives you anxiety. Can anyone say that you've ever remembered God and the very thought of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave you anxiety? Or did it bring solace to your heart? Did it bring tranquility to your heart? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will cause you to forget about your own selves, your own well-being, your own spirituality, your own prosperity. Number two, one of the ways that we lose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is that we sell our relationship with Him for a share of the dunya. Can you imagine a person who has a relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and then you sell that relationship for some money? Sell that relationship for some woman in marriage? Yeah, men do it all the time. You sell your whole deen just to have this woman. Be it Muslim, non-Muslim. Sell your whole entire religion just to have a woman. The Prophet ﷺ spoke about that in the hadith, where he said, "Man kanat hijratuhu lid-dunya aw imra'atin yusibuha." من كانت هجرته للدنيا يصيبها أو امرأة ينكحها فهجرته إلى ما هاجر إليه. That whoever makes his migration for a share of this world or to take some woman's hand in marriage, then your migration is what you migrated for. That's what you sold your religion for. But we had to have her. And in having her, you traded your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for that woman. How many men making tawbah, hopefully right now, due to a relationship that you were chasing for a woman, with a woman, and in turn you had to sell your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have her. Because she wasn't going to marry you. She wasn't going to be no Muslim. And you said, I don't care, I'll take you. Just as you are. MashaAllah. Meanwhile, you got 1.5 million single Muslim women out here, whatever the number is. But you selling your deen to go be with someone who is a non-Muslim. Go figure. Then when that crumbles right before your eyes, we run back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in hopes that He would accept our tawbah. Meanwhile, you through His relationship, you did what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's relationship with the brothers of Prophet Yusuf did with him. فَشَرَوْهُ بِثَمَنٍ بَخْسٍ دَرَاهِمَ مَعْدُودًا. And they sold his own brother into slavery for a few dirhams. Few dirhams. ثَمَنٍ بَخْرَخِيص. Cheap price. A few dirhams. That's how you sell your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For this job that I want you to shave your beard. No, you can't go to Jumu'ah on Fridays. And we say, all right, but I really need this job. No, you really need Allah. And you just sold your religion, sold your soul, sold your relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for some share of the dunya that Allah had already written for you. Do you understand how asinine that is? That I'm going to go sell my deen for a job that Allah has already decreed that I'm not going to have or I'm going to have. As the Prophet ﷺ said, بَادِرُوا بِالْأَعْمَالِ فِتَنٍ كَقِطَعِ اللَّيْلِ الْمُظْلِمِ يُصْبِحُ الرَّجُلُ مُؤْمِنًا وَيُمْسِي كَافِرًا أو يُمْسِي مُؤْمِنًا وَيُصْبِحْ كَافِرًا يَبِيعُ دِينَهُ بِعَرْضٍ مِنَ الدُّنْيَا. Hasten to do righteous deeds, to accustom yourself to doing righteous deeds before there comes a time of great fitna, trials and tribulations that will shake people to their core, that a man will go to sleep a believer and wake up a disbeliever. And a man will sell his religion for a share of this dunya. And Muslims do it all the time. You found Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Your parents did a job trying to give you Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on a silver platter. You were born into the religion. Some of us as converts had to find Islam. And some of you had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala handed to you on a silver platter. You were born into the religion. All you had to do was follow the instructions and the guidance that your parents gave you. Then there are those of us had converted to Islam. We had to go through trials and tribulations, transitions. Some of us went through 3-4 religions before we found Islam. And this is something that you need to ask yourselves. if you weren't born Muslim, would you even be Muslim? If you had to go through what a non-Muslim went through to convert to Islam, if you had to go through that yourself, would you even be Muslim today? That's a question you can ask yourself, because only you know the real answer to that, based upon how we engage Islam right now on our own. When you find Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you found everything. And when you lose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you lose everything. I could go on and on and on, but I'm sure that inshallah ta'ala you guys get the picture. This is not me trying to make anybody walk away today feel bad, but this is me holding a mirror up to you. Now, if you don't like the image that comes back to you, don't get mad at me, get mad at yourself. Someone holds a mirror up to you, don't get mad at them for holding the mirror up. Get mad at the image that comes back to you. The man in the mirror, the woman in the mirror. But we like to take the focus off of us and say, well, I don't like what he said, or I don't like he said this, and I don't like the way he yells or whatever. The Prophet ﷺ yelled during Jummah. So much so his face turned red and the veins were popping out of his neck. That is the methodology of the Prophet ﷺ in giving the khutbah. Don't come up to me after Jummah and say, brother, the khutbah was good, but just lower your voice. No, don't tell me to lower my voice. Learn the sunnah of your Prophet ﷺ before you come trying to correct me on something. This is out of love. I love you guys. I love the Muslim Ummah, the Muslim community, and I want to see us do better. I want to see us live up to our potential. There's so much potential in this room and every other musalla in this country and beyond. We have the most authentic book on the planet. We have the greatest miracle after all of the miracles that were given to the prophets and messengers sitting right here on the table. A book that has brought generations of people back to life. And we have it in our homes, we have it in our masajid, yet we are in some of the poorest conditions spiritually as Muslims. And for the life of me, I can't understand why. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us for our shortcomings. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً وَقِنَا عَذَابَ النَّارِ. Oh Allah, give us the good of this life and the good of the hereafter and save us from the hellfire. Allahumma ya muqallib al-qulub, thabbit qulubana ala deenik. Oh Allah, changer of the hearts, make our hearts firm on your religion. Allahumma ya musarrif al-qulub, sarrif qulubana ila ta'atik. Oh Allah, changer of the hearts, change our hearts to obedience to you. Allahumma inna nas'aluka al-jannah wa ma qarraba ilayha min qawlin aw amal. Oh Allah, we ask you for paradise and what will bring us closer to paradise from statements and actions. وَنَعُوذُ بِكَ مِنَ النَّارِ وَمَا قَرَّبَ إِلَيْهَا مِنْ قَوْلٍ وَعَمَلٍ. And we seek refuge with you from the hellfire and what will bring us closer to the hellfire from statements and actions. Allahumma salli wa sallim wa zid wa barik ala abdika wa rasulika Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Wa akhiru da'wana anil hamdulillahi rabbil alameen wa aqimus salah.